Well, ladies and gentlemen, I guess Christmas came early because now we're getting more and more information on the Epstein files. Now, I know I haven't talked about this previously on the channel, and I originally wasn't going to because it is a very sensitive topic, so let this be a disclaimer ahead of time. If you are in any way, shape, or form offended or feel like it's not enough, like it's too much for you, please click off this video. We are going to be talking about some very serious allegations against people who have done some very heinous and, honest to God, very fucked up things. And if you feel a type of way about this kind of situation, this topic, please do not watch this video. It is not for you. This is severely only for the people who are only invested into the news and want to know more information about something that is very insensitive and something that is potentially very, very harmful for people who may or may not be in our government and other people. So just disclaimer ahead of time, this is a very serious situation. With that being said, however, I guess Christmas came early because we got more information. So, if you checked the internet recently, especially as a few days ago, you would know that a lot of new photos were revealed about the Epstein files. Now, what are the Epstein files? Well, the Epstein files are files that were tracking and locating things that had happened in between Jeffrey Epstein's career of being a notorious sex trafficker, to say the least. And alongside all those files revealing names and places and locations and people, a lot of names were redacted. Not only that, but a lot of information was redacted from our own Department of Justice or the FBI when they revealed the files themselves. And this was very alarming to a lot of people who were following this story for years, because all this stuff went public about 5 years ago, or around 2020-ish. We have known for a while now that the FBI knew that these people were in the files, the names were there, everything, and they have withheld this information from us for a very long time. But as the dial on the burner gets turned up and the heat gets too much for them, they're going to eventually have to fold. And so the FBI and the Department of Justice did. They folded. They finally gave us what we had been asking for years, because these are very serious allegations and could potentially put a lot of people in jail for very incriminating things. This is a very serious situation. And when we finally got access to the files, most of them were redacted, and everybody was questioning why exactly. Almost pages upon pages of information were redacted. It was almost like they didn't want to show us, the truth, basically. They were pulling the sheets over our heads. They were just not telling us anything. But as of recently, a YouTuber you might know as CoffeeZilla, him and a research team have been undigging the evidence and showing the truth about what exactly were they redacting, and also an eighth page of the files, citing some very crazy information.
The FBI just accidentally released 11,000 Jeffrey Epstein files that they hadn't publicly put out yet, but we got access to them. And at the end of this video, I'm going to show you how to access them. Here's what that looks like. It's volume 8 of the files, but you can see right now that they've only released 7 data sets. And so myself, the guys at Jmail, and the guys at DropSite, we've been investigating this. I've partnered with them to kind of look at some of these files. And they got access to volume 8 early. You would just type it in the URL. It wasn't indexable on search, but you could just type in the specific URL and it would just come up. You could download the entire zip file, and that's what we did. We've been looking through it. I want to go over some of it because I believe some of what we've seen directly contradicts the FBI's earlier statement that, there's no evidence, or we did not uncover evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties. That's what they told us, right? They said, we've already looked through the files. You don't need to see the files back in July. Of course, all the pressure has made them now start releasing some of this stuff. In some of this, specifically, I want to draw your attention immediately to the 10 co-conspirators that are mentioned in some of these emails in 2019. Now,
so 10 co-conspirators is what we currently know of the list of people who were involved with Jeffrey Epstein's, heinous things. And I am of two minds of this, man. Why are you not showing the names? And I know why, and it's a very sad and obvious truth. They are trying to protect people who may or may not be politically involved or be rich. They are protecting people who have money, who can countersue. They're protecting people who are in charge, possibly. These are all possibles, but very much so that is exactly what they're doing. Because I have a firm belief that if any other average Joe's name was in in that list of co-conspirators of such a heinous thing like sex trafficking and just trafficking of children in general, their names would have been revealed if they did not have power. If they were just your average, Joe Schmo, they would have been revealed. But the simple fact of these people having power, just a lick of power, is enough for the FBI and the government to be scared that it may have backlash or pushback. So they redacted all the important names. And again, the walls are closing in on certain people. I don't want to mention any names, but if you follow this file, you know exactly who I'm talking about. And it's very alarming and worrying that we potentially have people who are in power and our government is pulling the sheets over our eyes in live time. We are being lied to by our own government about a very, very, very serious situation. And it is disgusting. Of course, if you have read the Epstein files or followed this case for a while now, you will know Jeffrey Epstein actually committed suicide. And Ghislaine Maxwell is the only one to this day to ever receive any justice. But everybody else who has been named in these files have not seen justice, and that is very worrying to me. Even people who have been shown in public pictures with Jeffrey Epstein, like Michael Jackson, Bill Clinton, Donald Trump. It keeps going and going. This guy had a lot of connections with a lot of people, and so there's a lot of candidates on the board on who was actually co-conspiring with this evil man to do these things, and everybody is in question on who it might be. Now, we do have locations of these co-conspirators, and that is 3 of them in Florida, 1 was in Boston, and the other one was in New York, and 1 was in Connecticut. And so we have an idea of where they might be or who it might be, but it's still a big mystery pot of who it could be. It's a big stew of different types of people. We have no clue, man. But I am just worried because if they continue to redact information from things like this, I mean, how bad can it get? How worse can it get before they start redacting shit that should have been revealed many times in the past? And people like the head of FBI, for example, he is also guilty of just lying in general. Like, how are you going to say that there was nothing in the files originally, and then you backpedal and say, well, actually there was information in the files? It makes no sense to me why our head of the FBI is doing shit like this. It makes no sense at all. Why are you saying that one information is one thing and then saying another and another? Like, it's very worrying information. If you're that, I mean, like, it's in my opinion, like, without going into rants, they should be prosecuted. These people should be prosecuted and arrested. Okay, they should be persecuted and prosecuted and prostituted. I don't know, but something needs to happen quickly because we cannot have people like this walking about, or even worse, being amongst us, or even worse, being in control, being in power. This shit is so fucking scary.
They say, I do not know about Ohio contacting Wexner. Now, that's a reference to Les Wexner, the former CEO of Victoria's Secret. This is huge. We've long suspected that he was, of course, one of the co-conspirators. And obviously, the fact the FBI suspected it isn't a 100% proof confirmation, but clearly they were serving grand jury subpoenas. I mean, that must be who they're talking about, one wealthy businessman in Ohio, because later it's confirmed by this whole idea of Ohio contacting Wexner.
And all this information, by the way, if you don't know, has been floating around for almost 6 years. Now, just imagine that. Our government has been lying to us for almost 6 years at this point on who is in these files and what is going on in these files. And then when they finally give them to us, they're fucking redacted. I don't know, man. I don't want people who are innocent to be prosecuted, but I do want people who are guilty of doing heinous things like this to be prosecuted. And, in most situations, when they do a case like this, if you don't know, they will redact private information for people who are victims. But these people are not victims. They are guilty of doing heinous things and being associated with this man. There's a distinct difference between a victim and a person who is a co-conspirator to a serious crime. And yet these people are not being prosecuted. They are being protected by our own government. This is not okay at all. At all, this is not okay. This is a serious situation. I mean, I'm glad they're somewhat trying to be transparent, but they're not being as transparent as they could be. Let's be honest. Saying the government lies, I mean, what's new? But this is beyond like just petty things. This is serious allegations. We might actually have people who are pedophiles and sex traffickers and traffickers in general, which is one of the worst things you can do in power. I mean, or celebrities, you know what I mean? And the simple fact of them being scared that they're going to get countersued, our own government doesn't even want to act and serve justice, which is something that this country was founded on. So you have all this information that's coming out slowly and slowly. We are being drip-fed the truth when it should have been revealed many, many years ago about how there are people who are potentially in power, people who are potentially, celebrities or what it may be, who have done heinous things, and our government has known for almost more than half a decade now, and has decided to not act at all, and then lie to the public and say that, however, or this and that, the third, or we're protecting, and it's all just fucking hoopla. It's all just stupidity. I may just be a guy on the internet, and I'm not a lawyer either, but I do know very obvious things. It's not hard to point out the obvious, and that is there are clearly some things that our government is not telling us about a very serious situation, and that is not okay. Most people would agree with that. You know what I mean? Like, I think this is just a situation of common sense. Of you can look at, you can see it. It's there. The ingredients are there. You can see the stew that's being made right now of the lies and bullshit that our government is feeding us. This is not a conspiracy theory thing. It's not a Bermuda Triangle thing or whatever the fuck. This is actual real information that our fucking government has given us and has decided to, just say, oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. And if you thought it got worse, well, guess what? It does. So the Department of Justice actually tweeted out today, and they said some very, very, very important information. The Department of Justice is currently looking into the validity. Oh man, I'm messing that one up. Of this alleged letter from Jeffrey Epstein to Larry Nassar, and we will follow up as soon as possible. In the meantime, 3 facts stand out. The postmark on the envelope is Virginia, not New York, where Jeffrey Epstein was jailed at the time. The return address listed in the wrong jail where Epstein was held and did not include his inmate number, which is required for outgoing mail. The envelope was processed 3 days after Epstein's death. If you don't know, when they found, apparently an alleged letter has been revealed, and it was between Larry Nassar and Jeffrey Epstein. Larry was also another pedophile who got prosecuted, and apparently the letter had the name of Donald Trump in it, and that is very alarming, obviously, because he is the fucking poster boy of the United States. He's the president. I mean, for Christ's sakes, what the fuck? And if he's involved with this, then he should also be prosecuted. I'm sorry. I don't care if he's the president. I don't care, even if he regrets it or whatever. And it's just like, what is going on? And then this the same man who has been, revealed in these letters and shit, and the one I've been trying to avoid this entire time, Donald Trump, has outright said that he also wants to protect people who have also been accused of the same things as him. No, we don't do that. Are you fucking crazy? You can't protect people who have done heinous shit. They should be exposed. Come on. They should be exposed for shit like this. But instead, no. We're going to try to protect these serious, fucked up people because, that's what we're doing now, I guess. I don't know. Like I said, if you find these kind of situations very sad, and again, I hope you clicked on this video. This is not okay. This is not good. I am scared for the future of our government, and I usually don't try to talk about topics like this, but this seems too serious to not speak about, considering I am a person who offers my opinion and offers news to my audience, you guys, about situations that I do care about. And obviously I do care about fucking sex traffickers and pedophiles being exposed and locked up, and hell, please, for the love of God, do something about this, because more people, the government itself needs to know that this is a very serious situation. And if they do not want to be transparent or, give us more clarity on the situation as citizens, then we should push back, because this is serious. I can't say serious even more. This is very fucking bad. Very bad for our own government. We look like idiots compared to every other country out there. But yeah, that's about all I have for today. And expect stuff to be a little bit different in the future. I don't really want to talk about stuff like this often. But if it comes up, and again, if it's this serious, obviously it affects our entire government, our entire structure as a society, then obviously I must talk about it, because this is bad. But anyways, hope you enjoyed the video, and yeah, see ya.